Jesse, you did extensive reporting on the legislation that the Center for Christian Virtue has been involved in both getting passed and blocking in Ohio. Can you break that down for us?
Certainly. There's a lot of different pieces of legislation that they have worked on, including some that we've touched on, but they have supported banning DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion in public schools. They would like to require parents' consent for kids to download certain apps and so forth. They oppose pornography type legislation. And then there's laws that have gone in that they have been instrumental in passing, such as advocating for an expansion of Ohio's Ed Choice vouchers, which essentially allows taxpayer dollars to pay for private education. They've also been instrumental in the ban on gender affirming care in Ohio for minors and a variety of other pieces of legislation. Us also, they you can see like Aaron Bear in the background as Governor Mike DeWine signs Ohio's most restrictive abortion ban, which proponents call the Heartbeat Bill. Opponents say it's more like a 6-week ban on abortion. And so, unlike some other groups that maybe specialize on one particular topic, I think about, the Catholic organization is a lobbying group in Ohio, but CCV is really kind of stretched across a variety of different topics.
One note on the CCV support of the Ed Choice expansion, the voucher system for schools. That is something that CCV is directly involved in. They have been been sharing the fact that they opened 15 schools since 2022. That is another thing that CCV does to share that information with people. Now, Maria, you have experience with both an LGBTQ rights organization and now work on fighting extremism in the state with Ohioans Against Street Extremism. Are there ways the laws that we talked about that Jesse described for us are impacting the LGBTQ plus community that aren't immediately obvious on the surface?
Yeah, and I think, to Greg's point about the influence always being present, I think that's true. I think the difference now though is the entrenched power that one party has at the state house. I think the political incentives have shifted quite a bit from, trying to keep that mainstream moderate Ohio position to doing whatever the party leaders whatever pleases them because that's who ultimately picks the leadership in this state. I think that's a real shift in the political dynamics of the state, even though these voices have always been around. I think as far as the impact, I personally know families that I used to work with doing advocacy around these bills who have had to move out of the state altogether. I mean, these are, when we talk about HB 68, for example, on one side it was Center for Christian Virtue and their allies. On the other, it was parents, doctors, and trans kids. And those were all of the people, advocating against it. Pretty much all of the people that would actually be directly impacted from the bill were against this bill. So as a result, we have families that now have to make completely different choices about getting medical care for their kids, but also just dealing with the fallout that is from the rhetoric. We have, I know personally, again, multiple trans youth who have been subjected to intense bullying because of the rhetoric that has been pursued by adults in this state is now being adopted by kids in this state. And so I think there is a degree of normalizing that hateful rhetoric that has gotten worse over the last few years as these political incentives have shifted.
Greg, you've worked at the Buckeye Institute for almost 20 years. So I'd like to ask your input on this. Have faith based organizations gotten more involved in policy in Ohio over that time, or has that influence always been present to the same degree that we're seeing it now?
Well, I think it's always been present. I think, as Jesse mentioned earlier, CCV under different leadership and a different name at the time, but was very involved in grassroots efforts, grassroots policy, state constitutional amendments. So there's always been that kind of an involvement. Now, I do think CCV has grown. I think it has a much larger state house presence. I spend a lot of time at the state house. We don't work on a lot of the same issues. We do work a little bit on the same issue relative to school choice. We were supportive of Ed Choice at the Buckeye Institute for a variety of reasons. So, there's occasional cross pollination, but generally we do different issue sets. But, I think they have grown. I think that they've become a sophisticated organization. But there's lots of sophisticated organizations out there. Again, I think as we were talking earlier, every business group, every association usually has somebody somewhere that's representing them because government is such a large and influential thing. When government decisions can make or break a business or make or break a whole wide range of things, you're going to have people who can help you petition the government and work on it. So, yes, I think there's been a little bit of growth within the state house itself, but I think it's always been prevalent. I think it's always been out there. I think there's been citizen activists that have had influence on individual lawmakers for a long period of time. So I don't know that it's a fundamental change. It may be more of an incremental change.